And lo and behold, Andy, are you live? I'm live.
I'm live. Here we are.
I know, I know. Technology is such a wonderful tool, right? When it works.
Yes, exactly. It says we're live, but who knows?
For those of you who don't know me, I'm Nancy Zare. I am the sales whisperer.
I'm Andrew Winig. I am the elevator pitch coach, and we're excited to be here with you today. We're talking, we got a match your message to your market program coming up, and we wanted to talk a little bit about what's going to be going on in that and talk today about your ideal client and how to come up with your ideal client. And everyone, people struggle and think it's a thought exercise, got to think really hard about this, but Nancy and I come at it from two different ways, but we really don't believe it should be a struggle. Like it's pretty obvious, and that helps people. Once you know your ideal client, then you can set all your marketing and your sales messaging and all that. So I'm excited to be talking about this with you today, Nancy.
And I want to talk a little bit, Andy, about why it is a struggle, and meaning people resist. I think there's maybe two parts to the struggle. The first part is that there is a sincere resistance to niche. People want to basically be generalists, where there's something called FOMO, fear of missing out. And because of that, people are reluctant to name their audience because they think that's going to limit their ability to attract people, to attract clients.
People are worried about that, and it's a lot of the work that I spend with my clients, reminding them that if you're too general, people don't put themselves into the story. It's when you tell specifics that people can actually respond to it. I like to tell the story about coming back from a vacation. You come back from vacation. How was it? Oh, great. We had lunch, and then we did an activity, and then we had dinner, and then we went to bed. Like there's nothing like that could be any vacation at all. Versus, my kid decided not to pack any underwear, and so we were at Disney World, and then all of a sudden you have triggers that people can hang on to. And that starts the conversation. Even if the person hasn't been to Disney World, that still starts the conversation. And I like people to bring that into their business work too, that the more specific you are, the more conversations you'll start. And the conversations are really where the opportunities come from.
Yeah, you're so right, Andy. It's those little moments of amazing, something that's maybe off base, or it could be extraordinary. It doesn't have to be something that went wrong, but it's enough, like you say, to stimulate a conversation. And isn't that what it's all about? Trying to converse back and forth with the other person. It shouldn't be a monologue.
No, it can't be. And I mean, when I look back at my career and all the work that I've done, every opportunity I've ever had starts as a conversation. It starts as a conversation. And that's what I like to help people with, is starting those conversations. Like the better you are at starting conversations, the more opportunities you will get. And I agree with you. People have this model in their head that, I have to cast a wide net, and I don't want to rule anybody out. But you have to be ruling people in too. And that's where the specifics come in. And
right. And
yeah.
So, as you indicated about the fact that there's a struggle, I want to talk about the second part of the struggle. So the first part was the resistance to name a specific audience, lest you lose out on, on opportunity. But the second struggle is, oh my goodness, which audience do I choose? And that's where people also struggle. Would you agree, Andy, that there's, again, a struggle in really narrowing down and committing to an audience?
Yes, there's absolutely that. And I went through that struggle myself. I mean, the elevator pitch coach, it took me a long time, longer than I'm willing to admit, to become the elevator pitch coach, because there was so much that I wanted to do and so much coaching that I was working on and so many different things. And it did turn out, and it's interesting what you say, right? That people don't want to niche down. And then when it's time to niche down, they can't pick like which one it is. And again, that's part of what we like to help with, both of us from our different sides, is to help people be comfortable with what they're working on. And again, you're not really boxing yourself in. Well, to me, there's two things. You do want to box yourself in, because that's how people remember you, and that's how people send you introductions, right? That's how people think of you when you're boxing. But you want to be boxed in the right way, right? I mean, I agree that you can come up with something that's so specific, or it's too specific, or you can come up with something specific that doesn't bring you the right kinds of opportunities. So there is some work there to decide which one. And again, that's a lot of the work we both do with our clients, is how to decide, so convince people that you do need to be specific. And then how do you be specific like that? That is something people struggle with, and something I help people with. And I know you help them with that too. It's like, and it's amazing to me that it's so counterintuitive, but once you're specific, I get emails every week from my clients. Like, I can't believe it. Like this other thing, I went to this event, and like I have these contacts, and yeah, I mean, when you're specific, it's counterintuitive, but it does work.
It really does work. And, Andy, I had just myself an opportunity this very week to take a look at my being specific versus being a generalist. And what happened is I'm involved in a 5-day challenge to start a newsletter. And I decided to take up this challenge. And so then I had to think, well, who is my audience? I know my message. My message is about unconventional or untraditional, non-pushy sales strategies and conversations. So I knew what I wanted to share with people, but who was that audience? Because there's so many people that could benefit from good sales conversations. And I was hedging and hawing. I finally got to Private Practice Pointers as the name of my newsletter. But Andy, I hesitated to say whether it was for attorneys, for consultants, for coaches, or for some other group. And so I did commit, and I'll tell you how I figured it out. I actually did a quick little survey or research on the web as to numbers of people in these occupational categories. And I decided to go with the largest number. So hence, that's how I'm starting out. And you know what? I can have private practice pointers for all the different groups I've just identified. But let me start with one.
Right. Yes, and I did the same thing. I was a leadership coach when I started off. I was doing a leadership newsletter one week and an elevator pitch newsletter the other week, and it was really confusing for my audience, I got to say. But the thing for me was, because I don't, as long as you have some metric for choosing, I think that's fine. And my metric was that I was getting much better responses from the elevator pitch. Like the leadership stuff was not resonating, but the elevator pitch stuff was resonating, and I think that's an important part of it too. Especially for marketing, right? I mean, we're not suggesting that you only have pointers for lawyers or accountants or whoever it is, right? You have pointers for anybody, but when you're specific about who it's for, that helps people understand. And I'm sure you'll have people from other professions on that list because they'll see them, right? Again, if it's a lawyer thing, people are like, well, some of the stuff I do is similar to lawyers, like that might make sense. People are worried, people are gonna be like, oh no, a lawyer, well, that's not for me. But it actually works the other way. I'm sure you see it in practice. It works the other way, like when you're.
Yeah. It's fascinating. It's fascinating. So I just want to share with the audience why it is that I teamed up with Andy, because this fellow is amazing. As he indicated just a few minutes ago when we were talking about, finding your audience and so forth, he said you want to make a message that stands out, right? That gets the other person to say, "Ooh, that was interesting. Tell me more." And that's the reason why I've chosen to work with Andy. He is very gifted at listening to who you are, what you're about, what your message is, and then narrowing down and finding the words that absolutely capture, compel, resonate, attract that audience. And that's the reason why I'm so excited, Andy, that we've teamed up to do this program called Match Your Message to Your Audience.
And Nancy, I'm equally excited because my work, as you just nicely described, is to bring people in, right? I'm trying to get people into better conversations. And then what happens is you're in this conversation, but people don't like selling, like consultants especially, they feel icky when they're selling. And this is what Nancy works on. She has a way of breaking down what you're doing. And so it doesn't feel icky. It doesn't feel salesy, right? It feels like you're working with them and a consultant to them. And I really love her approach to this. So it's kind of the two sides of the coin, right? In our Match Your Message to Your Market, we're going to talk about how to bring people into the conversation. And then Nancy's going to talk about how to move the conversation forward so that you get more clients. Like that's what we're doing. And it's a really nice 1-2 punch. And it's been really exciting to see how, again, we take kind of a similar approach to two different problems, but the problems are both conversational problems, right? We're trying to get people into your circle and then trying to get them into your client circle. And it's really, so I'm really excited to be working with Nancy on this as well. I'm so glad we're teaming up for this.
Yeah. And besides the fact that we're going to help you with that ideal audience and your message to that ideal audience, we have a few other tricks up our sleeve. What are some of the other things we plan to cover during that workshop, the 90-minute workshop?
Yeah, well, again, the thing I'm excited to work with Nancy on is we're talking about buyer behavior. Like, how do you know what kind of buyer? And we've all had people who, we start working with them and then they disappear, or, we don't hear from them, or they're really excited and they don't come back. And Nancy's got this really nice way, like they're 2s, 4s, 6s, or 8s, depending on how many times you got to touch them. And based on how many times you got to touch them, that's the kind of words that you use. And so now you can get excited when people don't get back to you. It's like, oh, they're not a 2. Like we know they're going to be a 4, 6, or 8. And so you have this way of working it through. So you're going to find out what your buying style is. And the other mistake, Nancy, we've talked about that a lot of people assume that people have their own buying style. Like I've worked with one client, and he's a really slow, methodical thinker guy. And I know he's missing out on folks that'll sign up immediately because he wants people to think about it. He's like, no, don't tell me now. People are like handing him their credit card. And he's like, don't tell me now. I want you to wait for it. And you lose them right now. He's lost them. And so he could have more sales if he was willing to understand his buying style and then understand their buying style and find the match in between those two. So that's one of the things we'll be talking about.
Yeah, and I'm smiling too, because just the opposite is true. The person who's very fast, that the person who needs to think about it and process it is just as repelled. Like, no, this won't work for me. So they're also losing out. Yeah. So yeah, this workshop, you're going to walk away with some real deliverables, which is your message and your knowledge of your ideal market. And for so many of us, because it is a struggle, that in itself alone, Andy, is worth thousands of dollars. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, think about what one client is worth to you, right? I mean, that's
I know. And so, yeah, there is a small fee attached to the workshop. It's really quite affordable. 90 minutes in less than $90. So, and Andy, I think you've got the link there. How about you go ahead and post it?
I don't know if I can post it to the live.
Yeah, you can post it to the live. It'll still carry through on our comments. We can always repost it too.
Put it in the chat, you're saying?
Yeah, put it in the chat, just in, so that when people are listening to the replay, they know where to find it. And so we are excited. This is Wednesday. Is it a Wednesday? I think it is Wednesday, April 18th.
It is, yes.
Is that when we've chosen to do? No, I think that's no, it's the 17th. That's why it's a Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay, it's Wednesday, April 17th. We're doing it from 11:30 to 1 o'clock Eastern time. We planned it so that those of you who want to take a lunch break, hey, guess what? It can be a working lunch. And not only will you enjoy your meal, you're going to get some real value from hearing and working on your message to your audience. Any last thoughts?
I know we're really looking forward to working with people. And again, you're going to come out with your message intact, right? We will work on what the messaging is and what your buying style is. And you will know all that by the end of these 90 minutes. So it's really a working session, and you're going to come out with a lot of value from it.
Anyway, Andy and I can't wait to work with you in person. And we're going to sign off now. To your sales success, Nancy Zare, LinkedIn Whisperer.